Hi besties, welcome to another episode of Midnight Modules, where we talk about some weird mystery murder Wednesdays. I will be reading from Reddit stories, and I definitely got some things I want to say. First, thank you to all of my lovely subscribers. Second, our last video was our 60th videos. Let's clap it up, besties. Guys, I've been working so hard and getting these videos out there. I really hope you guys have been enjoying them. Obviously you guys have been enjoying them because I keep getting good subscribers. I definitely appreciate everybody who comes and watches and supports and shares and comments and likes all of my videos and all my platforms. I really appreciate you guys. Hearts out to everyone, but let's get into it. Trigger warning, trigger warning, trigger warning. SA, schmurder, child trafficking, all of that good jazzy stuff. All the trigger warnings you can think of. Trigger warning, just trigger warning, trigger warning. The Oakland County child murders is extremely disturbing because of how violently some of the kids were killed. And we know that the killer was watching news coverage of the investigation because the mother of one of the missing children mentioned that his favorite food was KFC, and his body was recovered with KFC inside of his stomach. Some of the recoverings of the bodies had evidence that the children's clothes were washed and ironed. There was a good lead on a suspect who may have unalived himself, but sloppy police work means that it was never proven, and some of the evidence had indicated that these unalivings were part of a much larger child trafficking ring. Y'all, sometimes it's not okay to be on the news talking about your kid's favorite this and that. And I know like some of the tactics for like some cases, they're like, you know, say what your kids like, that we're still looking for you just in case the murderer or the murderer and the child is both watching the news, so the kid can have hope, and so the murderer can have like fear, like, oh, like we're looking for you, blah 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 blah. And honestly, it doesn't say a year that this happened, so you could just imagine like the child trafficking ring is so much bigger these days. Back then it wasn't as big as it is now, and I could just imagine like how this person is like, yeah, I got all this information about these kids, I'm gonna make them think that everything is okay, and whole time their intentions were never pure. It was always malice and just evil, you know what I'm saying? So like, I'm not a police officer, so I can't tell them what to do. All I'm saying is sometimes not saying anything too personal about your child when they go missing is a good thing. Sticking to like descriptions of what they look like, how old they would be, and stuff like that. And also something that I've been seeing a lot about is like, you know, allowing your kids to try different hairstyles so you can know what they would look like if they had different color hair. Because a lot of the times, if the person plans on keeping that child alive or pushing them through a ring, even though the child trafficking ring is so much bigger now, they'll dye their hair or like give them different hairstyles so they won't look, you know, the same. And of course people change as they age, and unfortunately this is like a really big thing in this world because they have child trafficking, organ trafficking, etc, etc. But it's crucial to see your kids in different lights, in different aspects, because you never know how letting your child wear a different hair color or allowing them to get a different haircut could actually save their lives, because people will have seen them in different styles in their lives. The Alphabet Murders is another creepy and extremely frustrating unsolved case. The victims had double initials in their alphabetical order, like AA, BB, and CC. The presumed killer was even chasing a victim down the road in a car while she ran naked trying to get help, and other motorists did not stop because they figured she was just a girl having a psychiatric fit. They caught someone with damn near identical MO and even had a victim with the exact same alphabetical killer name. He was found guilty for his murder, but in an insane twist, the DNA showed that he was not a match for the original alphabetical killer. See, I know this had to be back in the day. Like, I can't fathom that this was like recent, because back in the day women were presumed crazy like all the time. Women were presumed crazy like all the time. And it's so frustrating because it's like, if a man was running down the street naked screaming for help, or just running around down the street naked, people would stop and question it. But back in the day, if it was a woman, oh yeah, she was crazy. She had to have been having like a crazy fit, or she was going through postpartum depression. We need to put her in a psych ward. Like, these type of stereotypes literally cause people to like go unseen, unscathed, and nobody's saying anything to this day. And like, a lot of the times as women, we get overlooked and like pushed away a lot of the times, because people always like assume like, oh well, maybe that's her husband and she's just really drunk from a night out, but the whole time he drugged her and she's trying to get you to help her. But because this man is so charming, you're not second guessing, well, I don't see a ring on their finger, she doesn't look comfortable, they don't look like they even go together, or whatever you could question, you don't question it. And it's so frustrating being a woman, because a lot of the times, a lot of the stuff that happens to us get overlooked just because, oh, somebody had a good excuse, or she's crazy. She's crazy. That is so frustrating. And the fact that someone could have stopped and at least asked if she was okay, or called the police and said, hey, there's a crazy lady going around, naked. Even if the person was going behind her, chasing her with a car, y'all just need to be paying attention to the surroundings of what's going on. Because imagine you're running for your life, literally running for your life. You have the opportunity to be saved, and people are just riding past you like nothing is happening because they think you're crazy. They think you're crazy. If I see a woman, a man, a child, any situation, at least call the cops and be like, hey, there's a funny situation going on this road. This person is unclothed. I don't want to approach them because I don't want them to be scared. There's a car, trailing behind them. This is the license plate. Something of that nature, because you could save someone's life instead of just assuming that they're crazy. And even if they are crazy, at least you could have saved someone's life that day. So the Hinterkaifeck murders in 1920s in Germany. Andre, his wife Cecilia, their daughter Victoria, her two children Cecilia and Joseph, and their maid Maria were all brutally murdered with an axe-like weapon. The murders took place at night, where 4 of the victims were lured or taken to the tool shed on the property. The other 2 victims were murdered in their beds, and there were clear signs that the perpetrators remained on the farm for several days after the killings, eating and tending to the livestock. Creepy. Strange occurrences had been reported for months leading up to the murders, such as noises coming from the attic and newspapers found on the property that did not belong to the family or the family's neighbors. In the days before the murder, the family found unexplained footsteps in the snow coming from the woods with no returning footsteps, as well as a set of keys that went missing. Many searches by the family were done, but nobody was found. Despite a thorough investigation, the case remains unsolved and no definitive motives or suspects have been identified. Y'all, that is one of my worst fears ever. Like, one of my worst fears ever is somebody living in my walls in my old ancient castle house that I want to buy in the future. Or like, yeah, because I want a castle house, or like I want to build a house from scratch. But either way, somebody living in my walls is like one of my biggest freaking fears. Like, I literally, like, that right there, that gives me the heba of the jeebas. Like, imagine, like, I've seen movies, I've heard real stories, I've seen like actual live camera footage of people sharing their stories on YouTube, how like old homeless people lived in their vents, or people have lived in their walls and they did not know, and when they would wake up, stuff would go missing, food would be missing, cabinets would be open, like just different crazy stuff. I would lose my mind. I wouldn't even want to live in that place anymore if I found out somebody was living in my walls or living anywhere in my house and I did not know that. Like, that is so scary. That is so scary. Like, I'm the type of person that wants big land, big property and all that, but I want big fences and I want barbed wire. Okay, I want barbed wire at the top, and I want it to be electric boogie yoogie, because I don't want nobody trying to break into my stuff living in my house. Oh, that is so scary. That is so scary. And I don't want to live nowhere close to an insane asylum or a prison, because the people that break out of those things, they go to the nearest homes and they be wanting to like hold people for ransom or just unalive them for no reason. Like, no, 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 no. Besties, these stories are crazy, and it's just gonna get crazier from this point on. I hope you guys enjoyed my episode, and I hope to see you guys on Friday and in the future. Bye, besties. Thanks for watching. If you're watching this video, that means you made it to the end of my video. Thanks for watching all the way through, and don't forget to subscribe to all of my social media accounts, and I'll see you guys on the next episode of Midnight Modules. Bye.